What's poppin' YouTube? I'm Alec DeLelio, and today I'm excited to be showing you guys how to play Run by Joji on acoustic guitar. I posted a cover of the song a few days ago, and since then I've been getting a lot of requests and comments asking for the chords and tabs. That's all going to be in the description of this video for your reference. I tabbed it all out, and I hope that's helpful. But anyway, there's a lot to cover in this song, so I want to get right into it. First, I'm going to play through the verse and intro section, and then we'll go through it chord by chord, and we'll move from there. So this is how the song starts out in the first section that we'll be reviewing. I fell for your magic, I tasted your skin. And so that guitar part actually loops. That's really all there is to it, is that amount of playing. And you know, it's the same loop from there for the first and second verses. So this song starts out actually on a very simple chord. You really only need to worry about one fingering here, which is on the second fret of the D string. I'm using my middle finger to play that. Otherwise, this first chord is all open strings. So the root note here is E, so you're going to start on the low E string. You're going to play that D, which again, you're on the second fret. Open G and B strings. And that's the first chord. It's an E minor. From there, we have a F sharp minor 6, add 11, I believe. Don't worry about the complicated name of the chord, just worry about getting used to playing it. But for that, again, remember, you had your middle finger here on the second fret of the D for that first chord. So for the second chord, you're just moving it down to the second fret of the low E string. So middle finger here, index finger kind of drops below it on the first fret of the D string. Not worrying about the A string here, just ignore it. And your ring finger falls directly below your middle finger on the second fret of the G string. And again, you're just going to play an open B string. So yeah, this might be a little bit tough at first to play that shape, but just, you know, reference the tabs, practice it, your fingers will get used to it, I promise. And then from there, we have a G, and the way that this is played, it's very similar to the first chord in that you really need to only worry about one fingering. In this case, you know, if we're coming from here, where we had our middle finger on the second fret of the low E string, you just slide it up. So for this G, you have your middle finger on the third fret of the E, and you're playing the fourth, third, and second strings open. And then that, of course, goes into this riff, which, let me just play through the chords one more time to make sure that we got it. So it's, before we do the riff, those three. So practice that. But anyway, the riff, the way I'm playing it at least, is it's just on the bottom two strings. So I've got the third and second frets of the A string, and I'm using my middle and index finger. And then my pinky's coming down to the fifth fret of the low E and pulling off to the third fret of the low E. And then that actually naturally slides up to the next chord, which is an A minor. And the way that I'm playing that is I'm barring with my index finger on the fifth fret, and then my ring and pinky fingers are, you know, falling here on the seventh fret. And this is your standard power chord shape, but what makes it a minor chord is if you're barring it, you get this, you also get the fifth fret on the G string through the bar. But if you just played these three notes, that would be a power chord. Remember that, we're coming back to that in a few. But anyway, for the rest of the verse, you are going to play this twice through. So you go all the way through, picking, riff, back to it, and this time you play through it twice, and then you start over. So the timing is a little bit weird in this song because it's not in a standard time signature. I think that's one of the things though that actually makes it such a great song and makes it sound so interesting. So you'll have to like listen and play along a bit to get a feel for it. But everything that we just covered is all that is being played in the verse. It's all that I played in my cover. So just review it, use the tabs for reference. But now we're gonna move along to the chorus. So like I was just saying, if you just had here this 5-7-7, index finger, ring, and pinky, that's your power chord shape. That's what I am using to play that transitional riff in the chorus. So, I mean, if you listen to the song, the chorus, like things really ramp up. It sounds really powerful. So I wanted to mimic that in my acoustic cover. So when this riff comes in the chorus, I'm actually instead playing it with power chords, which is like this. And again, that's that same shape, that 5-7-7, but you're doing it with roots on the 8th, 7th, 5th, and 3rd strings. So that's all tabbed out. I feel like we went over the position already, so I don't want to go over each one by one. But again, reference the tabs. You guys will get it. And that goes into an A minor 7. And the way that I'm playing the A minor 7 is barring the 5th fret with my index finger and using my ring finger to grab the 7th fret on the A string and playing all 6 strings. And again, you play through that twice. And then, so you just run. Then it goes up to the next 3 chords, which are an E minor 7, and I know this was also a minor 7, but because I'm playing the E minor 7 with the root note on the A string, the position is a bit different. So again, I'm barring, this time the 7th fret, but only the bottom 5 strings. My ring finger is landing on the 9th fret of the D string, and my middle finger is falling between the 2 here on the 8th fret of the B string. If you have the bar, you should be getting the 7th fret of the G through the bar. Run. This next chord, I believe this is a half-diminished chord. And as you can see, you don't have to move very far. The shapes are pretty different, but they're all kind of in the same like region here. So the way that I'm playing this chord is with my middle finger on the 9th fret of the A string, my ring finger on the 10th fret of the D string, my index finger on the 8th fret of the G string, and then my pinky, you can see it kind of naturally wants to fall here. It's falling just below your ring finger on the 10th fret of the B string. The pinky tends to want to go either, in the same fret or like 1 fret further from where the ring finger is. But anyway, this is 9, 10, 8, 10. It's a really great chord. And from there, all you have is a G major, which you could play open, your classic G shape, but which I choose to play in bar chord form. So I'm barring the 3rd fret with my index finger. My ring and pinky, again, are falling on the 5th fret of the 4th and 5th strings. And what makes this a major bar chord is the fact that my middle finger falls between them here on the 4th fret of the G string. So all together, the chorus is... So I hope this is helpful, guys. Again, you're probably going to need to practice the song, a little extra just because of the time signature. Some of the changes can be a bit difficult, but the song is a ton of fun to play. I think it's a fantastic song. I'm really excited to hear what Joji has in store for us next, because I feel like with each new release, he kind of levels things up a little bit, and I really think that this is a great track from him. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I appreciate all the love in the comments. If you guys have any requests for future guitar lessons or covers, please let me know, and I'll get to it as soon as I can.